today we're looking at sprinklers. Just to give a little bit of a summary on what has happened since I haven't filmed any of the work that I've done so far. I've got 3 different valve boxes. 2 of them are set up like this one. And then one of them just has a single valve in it. And I replaced all of the valves except for these 4. And here's one of the old ones. I just turned this system on here for the first time since last fall, and I've already got some water down here, so that's not a great sign to start off with. This solenoid was okay, and I did get 3 new solenoids for those, but the problem I'm having right now is that this one here on the right is the valve is staying open all the time. So I'm hoping that if I can get that fixed, then we won't see any water in here like we do right now, but time will tell on that. So first thing I'm going to do is just open this up to make sure the pressure is relieved, although like I said that it's staying open, so shouldn't be an issue anyway. And what we're going to do to start off with is take this old valve, which was one of the ones that I replaced, and take it apart and then see what it looks like in there and see if we can use those parts to rebuild that other one, because from what I've found, if the valve is staying open, then it's usually due to either some debris inside of the valve or just that the components are no good. So let's just zip these out of here. Alright. Okay, so now there's a spring, so we're just gonna try to do this very gently. Okay, so that's the manual on and off right here. And so we've got this spring that just kind of sits on the top. This is like the bladder, I think, or something. And that's really it. I mean, there's just nothing else. So I don't know. I mean, that other one, the problem is it's hard to get down in there, so that kind of sucks, and I think this rubber just wears out after a while. But if those other ones are okay, then hopefully I can just reuse this one and replace what's in that other valve, or maybe there's just something in there that is causing the issue. So I'll take that other one apart and take a look in there. Once I get that apart, I'll come back to you and see what we find. Alright guys, well, I took that apart and wasn't really anything visible in there, so I think I put it back together and didn't get any different results. At first it wouldn't turn on, so I manually turned it on at the valve, and then it wouldn't shut off again. So I'm going to take it apart again, and I am just going to replace the 2 inner parts here, and then we'll see if we get any different results. Taking it apart's not any different than the one I showed you, just those 6 screws on there. But let me tell you that getting in that valve box is pretty tight. I picked up this right angle attachment for my drill, and I don't work for DeWalt, but or get paid by them at all. But let me tell you, this thing sped up the process quite a bit. It's just so incredibly nice. So I'm going to put that to work again, and I'll get back to you here in just a few minutes. Alright guys, so next problem here is down here in my basement. Here is the drain for the sprinkler. Want to leave that open all winter. I normally just have it going down with this little short piece of hose into a bucket. And yesterday when I turned the water on for the sprinklers, this thing has just kind of had a slow drip coming out of it. So I already broke it loose off camera. I could not get it with just a couple of regular pairs of these wrenches, so I ended up going to the old plumber's wrench here, and that finally gave me what I needed. So anyway, the water is off to the sprinkler system now, and so then we're safe enough to take this off of here. I think what happens with these is just there's a little rubber piece in here that makes the seal, and they just wear out over time. Our house was built in the 70s, so you know, that's getting up there in age. Some of those you can replace, but I don't know. I haven't. I couldn't figure out how to replace that one, and this is like $7, so figured I might as well just do it. So biggest thing with this tape is that you have it winding in, geez, I guess if you look at it, you're going clockwise, and that's so, well, I go around about 5 times or so, but, and then just kind of give it a good push, you know, while you turn there. But yeah, the reason you go that way is so that when you screw in, it's not fighting against it. So if you had it wound the other way, the end of it would be here, and when you're screwing it in, then you're kind of going against the grain, I guess, with the tape. So as long as you do it this way, then while you're screwing in, you're going with the same way that you wrapped it, and so that keeps it on. And that's, I mean, I think when I was younger, I probably did it the wrong way a few times, and it still worked, still made a seal, but definitely not. I mean, you probably want to go with the recommendation on that. Okay, like now here, I don't know if I'm going to get another full turn on this. So yeah, that's pretty tight. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave it like this for now, and it's only about 25 degrees here today, right now, so I am going to wait to turn the water on to test that, but I'll show you guys that in a little while. Alright guys, so as far as the sprinkler head goes, I don't know, I could not figure out what was going on. I took it apart and put it back together a couple of times. There was nothing obvious. So finally I just ended up digging the whole valve box out and then kind of looking around in there. And once I did that, I was able to get a screwdriver on these screws here, and once I started tightening it down a little bit more, I just found they were stripped. A lot of these, like at least 4 or so of these screws were stripped out, and so that's why it was having trouble making the seal. These don't have any kind of like rubber seal or gasket on here between these two parts, which is kind of frustrating. I've seen some of them that do, and I really wish that mine did. But anyway, once I did that, and I don't know if maybe you've seen this before, but with wood repairs, you can do the same thing, but what I ended up doing was just found a couple of small sticks out in the yard, and then just kind of broke them off and put them down in each one of these holes. And then what that does is when you go to thread in your screw, it gives it enough to bite onto, and a little more to something to fill the void a little bit from that being stripped out. And then after that, I was able to really crank down on it really well. It tightened up, really solidly, and the leak is gone. The valve does turn on and shut off as it's supposed to. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it. Probably set my sprinklers to run only like during waking hours, and just kind of keep an eye on it for a couple of weeks to make sure that it doesn't stick on again. If it does stick on, I'm going to have to tear out the whole valve box and redo it, which sounds horrible, and I'll show you guys that if it comes to that, but I hope it does not. So that's working. The next order of business is I have some sprinkler heads that are just too low from the ground building up over time and stuff, and my system hasn't been used in many years. We've lived here for 6 years and never used it because there was something wrong with it when we moved in. We found out it had a broken pipe, and then I fixed that back a couple of years ago, and have been kind of working on rehabbing this ever since. But we're going to get it going this year. So the next thing is I got these little risers. So it's got the female end here, so I'm hoping that I just have one sprinkler head that's not working properly right now, so hoping that when I unscrew that head, it's going to look like this, which is the female end. This female end will screw onto the male end that's already in the ground, and then that gives me a couple of inches, and then I'll be able to just screw this onto here. These are designed, I think this is 2.5 inches. These are designed where you can cut off, there's another piece, if I can get this sticker. So this groove right here or right here, if you don't quite need the whole 2.5 inches, you can cut them off there, and then it gives you a little less rise there. So that's going to be the next order of business, and we'll go do that and hopefully be in good shape. Okay guys, so got this dug out. This is my neighbor's, so I guess we're cutting it pretty close here, but anyway, this thing is spraying like a water fountain over here, not in a good way. So I'm just gonna unscrew it there, and looks like I got the wrong ones. So we'll put this back in just for now, and have to make another run to Home Depot, it looks like, because I need double mail in. Alright Alright, so here's an issue with this other type of sprinkler head all over our yard. I don't know, the newer ones I've seen, you can either connect them from the bottom or in the side. All of these seem to be on the side, which is pretty inconvenient for replacing them. So this one wasn't too bad, so I'm just gonna try to, I kind of lifted it up, I'm gonna try to leave it, but you can see here's like one of these kind of pressure relievers, which is really nice to have, and there's one on the bottom as well. But to loosen this, you can see how that's kind of an issue. So like I said, we're gonna try to leave it and see how it does. I don't know, this the edge of this is cracked up and stuff, so I'm sure there's just a ton of, yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff in there, so I'll try to clean that out and see how we do. But with the other side, we're going to need that male-to-male connector, and then here's another one that, so you can see it's out. I had to dig it up quite a bit to get this to happen, but I am going to just twist the connector that was in here. I'm just going to face it upright instead of the way it is horizontal to the ground, and then just screw it in there, and that should give me the lift I need. So be back. Okay guys, so finally got the right parts that I needed. So this is the old head. You can see that's got the male fitting on the bottom there. So I went ahead and got one of these. So what we'll just need to do is cut along this line right here, which you can't see because there you go, you can kind of see it there. Because this portion will go down into the pipe, which is about the same size as the male end on there, and then this portion right here will screw into the new head, because the new head is female. So that will put it right about the same height and should be good to go. And then the other thing is, just picked up a couple of these. One of them I am replacing, so I'll show you that. And then the other one, I might have one more head that I need to replace. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep it on hand because I know I'll need it eventually. So we'll show you that. Okay, so you just want to make sure not to get anything down in there, and just thread that. If we wanted to be really proper, we could put some thread tape on there, but if it's dripping a little bit, that's just a little extra water, right? So no big deal. Okay, and then for this guy, you know, this is kind of the same. They got the port on the side there, but since we needed to raise this up, we'll just connect it to the bottom. And hopefully we can put some dirt against that to keep it a little bit so it's kind of upright enough. Probably dig some out of there maybe so that it can sit down a little bit better. That should be good. Alright guys, we're gonna try this out now. That's closed. Just turn it on slowly here. Still no leaks. I think we're okay on that. Okay. Got this turned on now. It says to turn it left for aiming it, so I guess we'll do that. And I don't know, it looks like it's leaking out the top there a little bit, but probably not bad enough to worry about. And I don't know, the bottom looks okay, so I think we're gonna call that one good. Looks like it's a little strong, so I might need to turn it down a little bit, which is done with that screw on the top. So hey guys, it's me again. So different day here, a couple weeks later than the other videos. I just could not have any luck with this valve here, and so I just decided this is going to need to be rebuilt. So I ordered some parts. I'll show you those as we go along here. And so I just went ahead and got started on this. Just at the most basic steps. So I just went ahead and took my angle grinder here with a basic cutting wheel and cut these clamps off. Just didn't want to damage this pipe, so I'm hoping not to have to splice in or extend it or anything like that. So we'll see how well I can do with that, but yeah, just cutting those to begin with, and then started cutting this PVC off here as close as I can, but I just figured I'd finish it off with this hacksaw here. Be careful not to cut any of your wires while you're doing this. So yeah, at this point everything's loose. The next thing I'm going to do is get these off of here and then heat the black PVC up so that I can, that's kind of supposed to relieve it a little bit so that you can get these adapters or whatever you want to call them out of here. So we'll try that next. So I used my torch last time for this, which works almost too good. It's pretty touchy. I mean, it's just hard, and my torch is propane, so it doesn't really, when you tip it, it wants to go out and stuff. So I figured we'd try this good old trusty Harbor Freight heat gun on it. Since we're going to end up replacing these anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just cut these off with this as well. Alright, that gets most of it. Let's see if we can finish this off. we're probably not going to need these actuators or anything anymore, but I'll just cut them closer to those, but not all the way off, just in case. Well, I guess you could replace them there if you wanted to, but just to have this old PVC and everything, I mean, it just seems pretty horrible. It looks like I cut through that wire while I was using the cutoff tool there, so that sucks. Gonna have to splice into that. These are the pains of doing things yourself. Wish I wouldn't have done that. Okay, that works pretty well there. Less aggressive. I hope those pop right out of there. Alright guys, so here's what I got from Sprinkler Warehouse. This is a premium pre-assembled manifold and everything, but you can see, I mean, it's got these nice connectors here where you can easily unscrew and replace valves if you need to. Just incredibly nice to have. So this came pre-assembled. It's like 125 bucks. You can get it all done separately, but it's about the same cost, so I just had them send it to me like that. And the biggest issue you have with rebuilding these manifolds is just fitting everything in. You can see that these pipes here are going to have to be cut down so that this lines up, and then we also got this line over here where that valve was sitting right here. There's not room for that anymore, so I'm going to have to dig this back and cut farther over so I can put a T in here and then the other connectors so that it meets up with this. So start working on that and get a little farther and then come back to you. As you can see, I dug out some of this and put this white rock down. I have some more rock, hopefully to make this look a little bit nicer. So I got some dirt in here, but that's just to keep the box a little nicer and stuff once we get that in. So we'll see how that goes and be right back. Okay guys, on second thought, I just plugged this off, this zone. I mean, trying to cut this and get all that in here, dig all this out so that the box fits and is moved and everything, it's just too much for me. And honestly, this line goes to one sprinkler head, which the area is already covered by other sprinkler heads. So it's just not worth it to me to have to get that put in. Obviously, if it ever came to that, I could dig this up and then go back and do it, but I just don't see that happening. So right now I'm just going to go in and cut these out. Okay, so now, those are in there. Once I heat them up, I think they're going to be in good locations. This is obviously going to have to be cut off. I've got this adapter here. So push those together and hold it for 10 seconds. Now the other side of that is this 1-inch slip into 1/2-inch female threads. I just figured it was probably easier to do that before I put this on. And then that's going to go on the end of there, and then this automatic drain, I'm going to tape these threads and put that on here a little later, so I'll show you that when the time comes. Okay, so same thing here. Okay, now we're gonna try to evenly heat all these up and slip this in. Okay, let's get these clamped. Alright, let's put some tape on here. We'll screw that into a fitting here. Just for informational purposes, I could not find these drains at Home Depot or anywhere locally, except for we do have a Sprinkler Warehouse store, not sprinklerwarehouse.com, where I got this manifold from, but we have like a wholesale store here that had them. But since I was ordering this from the sprinklerwarehouse.com anyway, I figured I'd just order the rest of it as well. So throw that on there. Throw that on there, and really we should be able to turn the water on. Alright guys, so got everything done. I know I didn't show you as much as I should have, but hopefully what I do have is you know, sufficient. If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments, but I'll show you some things here and try to explain. So I did go ahead and get a new box. It wasn't too bad. It was like 20 bucks at Menards. I need to clean this out in here a little bit, but you can see I did put that gravel down there, and hopefully it got a little dirty since I was digging out more dirt for the box here, but hopefully it stays somewhat clean. I mean, it can't be any worse than it was, so there's that. I've run the sprinklers a couple times, and I did have to tighten the connections up a little bit. Just I don't know, they looked to me like they would seal up good enough if you just twist them with your hand, but they do need a little couple of turns with a wrench to kind of get them really well, nice and snug. Yeah, so I got the three valves here. I did eliminate that one that I kind of told you about. It was right where the edge of the white PVC there ended. It ran back that way towards the shed here. There's the old box. And then it's somehow it came over to the behind the shed. There was a head and a break in the line right here, and then it went along the ground to there was another head right here, which I was just going to cap off because we got some kind of patio or something we're going to do with this area, so didn't want that one in place. And then there was another head right here, but once I decided to eliminate that that valve, then I just took this head out and plugged everything up and left it buried. So I mean, I could come back to it sometime, but you know, the only functional or needed valve or head in the whole on that whole system was going to be right here. It's just not necessary. If I walk over here, I've got this head here, this head here. There's one over by the valve box way back there. And then, so that gets the majority of the yard here. And then I also have a single valve box here, which is kind of weird. But that also handles this head, which gets the most of this side of the yard. And then one thing that was kind of interesting is that there's the valve box in the front has one of the valves connects to the purple wire for the controller, and that single box right there is also wired to purple, and so they actually run in sync, which is kind of strange, but I guess the pressure is, you know, not, you know, running two valves, the pressure isn't too much, so it works out okay. I did actually change that head right there and that head right there. They were both just shooting water out of the top of them. That purple wire then that opens up two of the valves, it runs all of these heads along here. There's three there, there's three on the right and two on the left, and then there's even a couple on the other side of the fence there. So yeah, quite a bit of water coming out when that zone turns on. I did run the wires were coming out. Actually, the old owners had the wires going right through the window frame here, but when we got new windows put in, I just had them cut that, and then I got a good masonry bit and drilled through the wall here. I gotta figure out something better to secure this to the wall, and then I did buy some wiring just to extend this a little bit, and I just had this control panel kind of laying here while I
while I was working.
Well, anyway, that's about everything. I can't think of anything else to tell y'all, but if you have questions, like I said, just please do leave them down in the comments, and I'll try to help you out as best I can. But anyway, until next time, take it easy.